Okay. Do you think the legacy of Plymouth State and partying will have an effect on students who graduate here that are trying to enter the job market?
I do. I think first impressions are really important, and I think that if a student is well prepared, if they're well prepared, well organized, have a strong resume, have a strong work experience, that will quickly circumvent some of the past history or the reputation. I think if students, don't come in on their A game, I think that helps. It's where people go to sometimes mentally, and they're like, Plymouth, it's a little less than
Yeah.
that doesn't help. So I think it's really reliant on that student to, be at the top of their A game when they're interviewing.
The interview?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Do you think the public eye would be impressed or disappointed with the amount of drug use and alcohol abuse that we have on campus? Do you think they'd be surprised that the lack of, or?
I think they would be very surprised at the lack of. I think when we look at the data and the usage data compared to there's data that's called norming data, and it looks at actual uses versus perceived usage. The perceived usage, even of our own students, says significantly higher than the actual usage. Or when you look at the number of what they call binge drinking nights, very few of our students would be qualified in the binge drinking rate, yet the perception is that students drink every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I even think within our own faculty and staff, they're the one who call it Thirsty Thursday. I've never heard a student say, maybe do you hear them call it that?
Sometimes I do. Depends on who it is. Yeah. Not many.
Right. I've never heard in 2 years a student call it that, but I've heard staff call it that, or faculty call it that, and I think, geez, what are we perpetuating in our own right that may or may not be existing?
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Is there anything we can do as a community to try to get alternative weekends here at Plymouth more successful, like PAW activities? Is there anything that we could do to get more students involved?
Yes. I think we could really start to look at a much more integrated model with the residence halls and things like PAW, where when I think about the things that seem to have really worked well, it is the things where CAs said, I'm going to co-sponsor that with PAW, or PACE says, I'm going to co-sponsor that with PAW, and somebody else seems to join in.
So it's like more people.
Yeah, well, but it also seems to have a different energy to it when there's some. So if we were to really look systematically at the calendar and say, okay, we know almost everybody goes home on Columbus Day weekend. We know almost everybody goes home on Veterans Day weekend. Certainly everybody goes home for Thanksgiving. Well, now we're talking about 12 weekends in the semester. And if we were to say the home kickoff game to the hockey game is X, well, that takes care of that Saturday. I think if we started to look more systematically at who would partner with whom and how would that all come together, I think potentially we could create a really dynamic programming model or alternative weekend model that could be potentially a lot of fun and potentially shift some of the CA or student engagement, like say, well, that covers this or this in your programming requirements, or that covers this and this in your.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much.